Good morning. Gonna start my day off by getting out in the community and do some retail arbitrage at a few of our local department stores, but I'm also gonna be doing a few estate sales and a whole bunch of garage sales today as it is Friday. And Friday is always a good day to do garage sales and estate sales because the masses of people that are off on Saturday have not got to those sales yet. And so that's a big goal for me today, is to hopefully go out and pick some goods to make some money and make some profit. But for the current moment, it's real early and I get up every day and have a little bit of a routine with my eBay business. And so right now I've got 4 small items I need to send out, one of which was a pair of football gloves that I arbitraged from Walmart for real cheap. And the other pair is some Birkenstocks that I bought that are vintage, made some good profit off of them. And then the other 2 are just some smaller pieces. I have a Gobel rooster that's very vintage, a little porcelain figurine that I sold to a gentleman that I'll be shipping off. And then lastly, I have a cup that I worked into a deal last weekend to buy a pair of cowboy boots. And I, oddly enough, got this vintage McDonald's cup for completely free as part of the deal to buy these cowboy boots. So I was able to send it off, sell it for about 23 bucks. Hey, and it was free. So I can't see anything wrong with that profit, but I'm gonna wrap those up, get them packaged off, sent off at the mailbox today. And so that's my early morning goal. And then after that, I'll be racing out to hit a lot of sales and do some arbitrage. So follow along. All right, so I wanted to give you a quick look at what I'm packaging off today. Some smaller items, but some good sales for what I've spent. Down on the bottom is a pair of vintage Birkenstocks. I paid a whole $1 for them. They're women's shoes, but they're very sought after even though they are used. And on the top right-hand corner was a pair of football wide receiver gloves that I've arbitraged from Walmart. And I paid, I think, $2 for that pair. I sold them for about $16 plus shipping. And then to the left over there is a Gobel rooster, and it's a very sought after porcelain maker. And so that rooster, I think I paid $2 at Goodwill for. And then right here, as you can see, is an old McDonald's early 1990s collector's cup. It's part of the Camp College collection, or I'm sorry, the Camp Snoopy collection. And so I was able to get this cup, as I said earlier, as part of a deal that I worked with buying a pair of cowboy boots. And so it cost me literally nothing. And I think I was able to make $23 off of it. So all profit for nothing. Pretty cool. All right, so what I have here is some of my shipping boxes and mailers. And so for several of the items, I'll be putting them in a box just to really protect them. But for one of the other items I didn't show, which was a vintage t-shirt I just recently sold, I'll just be putting it in a poly mailer. I find that easy, quick, and fast, and the most lightweight option. And so items like that, I prefer the lightweight polys just to save money in shipping weight, and I think it's faster. So always trying to minimize my time packaging and wrapping items because it can get time consuming, but I also remind myself that I'm making huge profits off of small items I pay very little for. And so at the end of the day, it really doesn't bother me, and it's better than working for somebody else. Okay, so you can see here I've got 5 packages all situated. I'm just getting ready to put the addresses on them. And I always try to weigh my packages so I can stay consistent with my costs. I do a lot of free shipping, but I do like to calculate what I'm paying out to that. And that's always something you need to consider with your business, but you can run your business how you want to. I do strongly suggest people do calculated shipping if they're just getting started, so you can kind of get a gauge of what people are paying for the shipping. And there's a lot of different ways you can hack your shipping costs by either going through eBay and paying for labels through them, or getting different discounts through United States Post Office. So getting ready to send these guys off. One of the things I'd like to move towards is actually a thermal printer. Been putting that off for a while. But definitely going to take that step because I've been moving a lot more inventory lately, and I just want to use that as a tool to grow my business. All right, so I'm off and running right now. Heading to the ATM, just need to get a little bit of cash, and then I'll stop by the gas station, get some change. One thing you never want to do is depend on the person selling it, an estate sale or a garage sale, to have exact change. So I always try to keep a wad of cash with me. Gonna get that done, and then gonna meet my dad at a garage sale and see if we can't pick some goods, find some junk to make somebody else a treasure, and make some money in the meantime. So again, follow along.
No, this one's 5. We're gonna flip if that's 3 or nothing.
All right, so these guys are flipping a coin for the price on a deal here at a garage sale this morning. So I have my dad on the left, who's a hardcore picker, and then an old friend's dad on the right here, who's a resident Aztec and a good dude.
Got a little rust down in there.
Now the negotiation begins.
Won't even go back on.
Take a chance, flip the coin.
I'll go 6 for both of them. And
7, you got a deal.
6, or we'll flip.
So we're flipping for 7 or 6.
7 or 6.
You call it.
Heads. Heads.
All right, so garage sale 1 was okay. Ran into one of my old baseball coaches from elementary. Him and my dad ended up flipping a quarter over the cost of some goods my dad was trying to purchase from him. Made for a good laugh this early morning, but I'm on to the next garage sale. See if I can pick some goods there. I did actually find a pair of Keen boots that were okay. Went ahead and bought them for $3 and was able to get a Coleman lantern that's kind of vintage, not super old, but Coleman stuff sells easily, and I'm a fan of picking it and selling it and even collecting some of it. So gonna race off to the next garage sale, and I'll try to be better about filming some footage. I get excited when I show up to an estate sale or a garage sale, and I often forget to press record. So that's what today's video is about. Follow along.
Quite prepared. No. I do want my coffee though. Coffee's always good. Looking for anything particular?
You got anything old and vintage? Any old Wrangler Pearl Snap shirts? Any Pyrex? Any Fire King mugs? You got any vintage lunch boxes? I can just keep going.
In reality, I do.
Drew's mom.
I know.
Zach. I didn't even recognize
Do you
you.
know,
All right, and Goodwill scored me a Louisville Slugger for $5 and a Pac-Man video game controller. Not sure if it works, but I can always bring it back. I got 2 garage sales right across the street from one another.
Morning.
How you doing, man?
Good, you?
Oh, not too bad.
And she came back. She came back, but when she did.
All right, so I struck out at the last couple garage sales. That is very much the case when you're out junking, picking, flipping. Most garage sales I come upon are selling old clothes that are virtually worth nothing, and oftentimes Christmas decorations or old glassware, crystal, and a lot of those things, again, are not really worth much, and there's not much of a market to resell. But consistency is the key, and hitting a lot of garage sales to kind of find the things you're after is every bit of the flipping game. So gonna hit a few more garage sales and then go grab my kiddos and make a little video about my haul. So thanks for joining. Bunch of vintage silver. Definitely not my thing. All right, pulling up to another garage sale. Not sure if this one's gonna have much of anything I'm really looking for, but one thing is for certain, I need to dust my dash. So that last garage sale was definitely a strikeout. Just a bunch of clothes, some overpriced cowboy boots I would have liked to have bought, but they just didn't want to come down. And so gonna keep on pounding the ground, try to find a few more garage sales. It's getting a little bit later in the morning now, and a lot of that good stuff's probably already been picked, but it's never too late to find something good, and staying consistent and positive is a big part of this game. So gonna hit the road again. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and share my haul with you after a pretty good and successful day out picking. I came across a variety of different things. So starting on the right-hand side, you'll see I have a Coleman lantern. It's not real old and vintage, but I picked it up for nothing. And right behind it is actually the identical lantern, but I picked it up at a different garage sale, and it did have its carrying case. And so I got both of them for just a few bucks each. There's some profit to be made in that. Then if you scan over to your left, you'll see there's a blow mold Ghost, and I picked it up for $3. The lady was asking $5, and hopefully I'll be able to get maybe 60 to 80 bucks out of it. It is very vintage, and the blow mold holiday decorations definitely sell pretty easily on eBay. So down below the Ghost, I have a pair of Keen boots, and the boots I picked up from my old baseball coach. He sold them to me for just a couple bucks. They weren't in great shape, but they are Keens. They don't have insoles, so I'm not sure if I'll just list them as is after I clean them up, or if I might buy a pair of cheap insoles to replace what are missing. Not quite sure yet. Don't want to put too much time or effort into them, so I might just clean them up and sell them. And then to the left is a pair of Converse. They also need cleaned up, but I only paid $1 for them. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll scan in a little bit closer. They'll clean up nicely, and I should be able to sell them, maybe make 25, 30 bucks, hopefully. And then right above, this little sweet grandma was kind enough to sell me a very nice pair of Asics, and I think I paid $3 for these, and she only wore them once, so they're pretty much brand new, and even had the box. Now, as I scan back here, or stand back, I should say, I came across that Denver Broncos vintage cap, paid $1 for it. Haven't looked up the comps on it yet, but vintage caps like that are NFL usually sell, and I usually can make a little bit of money. So I enjoy picking sports memorabilia, find it interesting. And so while I'm not a Broncos fan, I do live very near Colorado and come across a ton of vintage Broncos stuff. So hit me up in the comments if you're looking for some Broncos gear that's old. I might have it. And right above the Broncos hat is just an old vintage jar with the wire snapping lid. The gasket's a little dried out on it, but I just paid pocket change for it. I should be able to make a little bit of money off of it. Women like to collect those vintage jars like that. And right next to it, as you'll see as I zoomed in, there's an old school thermos. I actually picked it up for just a couple dollars at the Goodwill. Hopefully I can make maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks off of it, possibly. Some of this old vintage stuff, if it's in good shape, is made somewhat of a comeback, so I like collecting it. I like the old stuff that reminds me of my childhood and reminds me of my grandparents who are no longer with us. So every time I go out junking, I see a lot of cool old vintage stuff, and it's always a nice reminder that maybe my grandparents are shining down, thinking of me, and maybe giving me some good luck as I'm out trying to find some junk. So as I continue on and get off my rant here, this is a 3-stripe red hat. Strangely enough, there was no graphic on it, but these 3-stripe hats are very popular, and I just wish it had a graphic, but I just paid pocket change for it. I figured, what the heck? It needs a little bit of cleaning. It was a little bit dusty, but there might be a little bit of money to be made, and if anything, it was just cool to find one in the wild. But down below, I got a Coca-Cola mug and this Coca-Cola plate with the bears. I just paid a little bit of pocket change for both of them. Might be some profit in selling the mug, not too sure about the plate. And then down here, I got me a Pac-Man plug-in game. It's pretty old. I think it's early 2000s. It needs tested. If it doesn't work, I'll take it back to Goodwill. Paid $5 for it. It might be able to make 20, 30 bucks off of it. And so right above that, I've also got a nice little still of a deal. I've been all over the place trying to find a value on this thing. This is an old school trumpet. It does have the mouthpiece. I just didn't put it on for the video, but I was told it did work by the person I purchased it from. It was actually his brother's. And I looked up the comps on it. I've seen anything from parts going for $15 to a working trumpet going for about 200 bucks. So mine's not as nice as the one on the upper end of the price scale, but I think there's some profit to be made, and I only paid $4 for it. So kind of cool, different. And as I scan back over here to finish up my haul, One of the coolest things I found today was this baseball bat, and a steal of a deal. They had just pulled a cart out at the Goodwill in town, and oddly enough, just had $4.99. I even talked to the manager because I know him pretty well because I'm in there a lot. He was surprised that the people on the back of the store had priced it at that. I have not yet looked it up, but these wood baseball bats sell easily. They're very collectible, and I couldn't make out the name on it, but I was kind of in a hurry to get back on the road picking, but it almost looks like Tony Gwynn. I think that's who it is. And Tony Gwynn was an incredible player. You have to be pretty good to be to have your name on a Louisville Slugger. So that is the majority of my haul, but I'm saving the last thing I wanted to share with you, and it's a bunch of vintage Wrangler shirts. And so I'm gonna pan away for a second. I'll bring you back into scope so you can see the last part of my garage sale finds and Goodwill finds for the day. Alrighty, so this was the big find of the day for me. It might be a big find of the last few weeks, actually. And what I have right on top, as you're seeing, is a Brooks & Dunn large Panhandle Slim vintage shirt. It's, as you can see, covered in dog hair. I paid for that. But the shirt itself is in great condition. I have not been able to find comps on eBay for this exact shirt, but one kind of like this design and style goes for about 40 to 60 bucks from what I'm seeing. So this one I have not been able to find. I might just mark it a little bit higher than that and see if anybody buys. And if they don't, I can always come down on the price. But it's a pretty cool looking shirt. It's got pearl snap buttons, and they're kind of a black onyx look, and it's just cool. It reminds me of some of the neighbor kids I grew up with. Their dad wore shirts like this all the time. He was always a sharp dressed dude. So shout out to Carlos and his son Carlitos. If you ever see this video, I'm thinking of you guys. These old vintage cowboy shirts, Wrangler shirts are just a throwback to my childhood, and I kind of like buying them and reselling them. Recently kind of got more into the vintage Western shirts. So gonna go ahead and let me flip through. Got several more to show you. This one here I also have not got a baseline price on, but I just got home, so I haven't looked up the comps. But I think I paid $3 or $4 for this one. The woman selling it would not budge on the price, but these were special shirts. They were her husband, who is now deceased, and he took very well care of them. Most of them are pretty clean other than the dog hair. There is one or two that might need maybe dry cleaned because of the worth, but I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of take a good look at them after I'm done making this video and do some more market research, try to figure out the going prices. But this is definitely a cool shirt here. Got some cowboys doing a cattle drive. And then this guy right here is probably not quite as old. It's a vintage Wrangler. It's a PBR Jack Daniels edition. Got some cool graphics on the sleeves. Got the Jack Daniels, and then it's got the Wrangler emblem, as you can see on this sleeve. It's a very sharp shirt. It's in a good size. I believe all these are in large. And I think I paid $5 for that guy. Now I'm getting down here to these bottom ones, and these last couple are a little more vintage. Let me step back here. Okay, so this guy here is not pearl snap. I wish it was, but it still has a pretty cool graphic. I haven't looked up the price yet on it. I don't think, because it's not pearl snap buttons, I don't think they garnish as much value, but I could be wrong because I've priced some of these long striped pattern. I believe they're called Chilcote or Chilcote style Wrangler shirts, and they go for quite a bit of money, and they're not pearl snap. So I have one of those to show you at the back of this haul. And so that's a pretty cool Wrangler. Paid, I think, $2 or $3 for it only. And then this guy right here, I looked the comps up on it. It didn't go for as much as I was hoping, but I think I paid $4 or $5 for it. Yeah, I paid $5. And it is a yellow and black block Wrangler shirt. I think it's more 90s. Very popular in the rodeo scene for guys that are into that. Cowboys. And this last shirt here is going to need some cleaning, but I think it's the one that's probably going to garnish the most value. And it is what they refer to, I believe, as the Chilcote Wrangler, which is different than the brush duster or the brush popper. I think that's what they call it. Sorry if I'm wrong about that. Correct me in the comments. But this shirt right here has some white stripes in it that definitely have a few spots that need cleaned. These shirts I'm seeing go on eBay for somewhere between, conservatively, I've seen them go for as low as 60 and as high as 400 bucks. I think the average median price though is about $200 for one of these. And there's a lot of them out there, but this one's a good size and has good color. And if I can get it cleaned up, it's definitely the one that's probably gonna carry the most value so far. But again, I haven't done much market research and I'm kind of new to the Wrangler shirt game. I have been collecting some cool old vintage shirts and mainly t-shirts and caps for a while, but I'm kind of new to the cowboy shirt market and there's definitely some money to be made. So that's my haul for the day. If you like this video, I hope you're going to be kind enough to like and subscribe it. And I'd love for you to start a following with me. I like to do different things like care for my garden, share it with my kids, grow weird food, and raise chickens. But I also like to go out and show people how to cut firewood, give tips and safety on it. And lastly, I like to go and source used goods to sell for profit. I'm into junking and flipping. And so this has been Zach with the Underground Safari. I appreciate your time and thank you for watching.